Hello, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Create Luxury Living. Today, I'd like to talk to you guys about remote wholesaling. I'd like to go ahead and help you, those of you that are available on this Zoom call, to learn about remote wholesaling and how it was so impactful in my life and how you can also utilize remote selling to help you build the life of your dreams, as well as give yourself passive income, and more than anything, allow yourself to have the freedom to do and be whoever you would like to be. So let's go into remote wholesaling, because now it's very crucial to understand that with wholesaling and with the new way and new technology, you can now actually make passive income without leaving your home. And that is what remote wholesaling is going to do. So again, my name is Casey Ajindu, and I'll be your instructor for today. For those of you who have any additional questions or who would like to learn more about wholesaling, just the basics of wholesaling, which is extremely crucial to understand just when you are about to get into wholesaling, I have in the description below, I have my course information. I want to make sure that you can leverage that information as well as leverage the resources available to you to give yourself a fighting chance to be successful in this industry. So let's go into remote wholesaling. Let's talk about what this is. So what is remote wholesaling? Remote wholesaling in real estate is the ability to actually be able to make deals without having to physically walk the property, and also to make deals in other locations, other countries, as well as anywhere in the world, just as long as you have a smartphone and a computer. Now, I have had quite a bit of experience in remote wholesaling. So the true definition of remote wholesaling is it's a virtual process of purchasing and selling a property long distance using online references such as computers, smartphones, and etc. So again, remember, you don't have to physically be in the property. You don't have to physically walk the property. You can actually virtually purchase the property and flip the contract long distance, as long as you have online resources that you can use to be able to get into the business. Now, a lot of people are going to ask, how are you sure that you're getting the right property if you haven't gotten a chance to inspect the property yourself? Why is this a new method? And I'm going to go into a lot of detail as to how you can actually still be successful using remote wholesaling as a process to help you generate passive income, as we go through this information. So the process of finding a distressed property to place under contract, flipping that contract to an investor or buyer in the local market for an assignment fee, that's considered remote wholesaling. Now, folks, I have a lot of experience in this. I've had a chance to remote wholesale deals in Bahamas. I've had a chance to remote wholesale deals in Costa Rica, in Colombia. I've had a chance to host remote wholesale deals in Indiana. I live in Dallas, Texas, and I'm going to go through some of these deals that I did with you guys, so you guys can see that it's possible to remotely wholesale any property anywhere in the world, as long as, one, you have the resources, you have the understanding, and you don't have to be in the country of your choice if you do your proper research. Now, some countries, in full disclosure, some countries do frown against wholesaling. So there are ways that you can still make your assignment fee, but it will just be called something different. And I'll explain to you guys how this process works. So what's key here is that anyone can get involved in remote wholesaling, as all it takes is the knowledge of the real estate industry, the will to learn, your proper mentorship, and a good marketing strategy. So again, I'm going to repeat myself. Any one of you can get involved in remote wholesaling, as all you need is to understand the real estate industry. You need to have the will to learn. You need to have a proper mentorship, and as well as a good marketing strategy. Now, you can see in all of the things that I mentioned here, I never mentioned anything about having the money. I also never mentioned anything about having the connections or knowing who you should be reaching out to. That's where your marketing strategy would help you with being able to understand who the right folks are that you need to reach out to, so you would have the ability to be able to make these deals and be able to flip these deals to the accurate buyer within a very short period of time. So what I've been able to do over time is with my experience and with the things that I've done and with the mistakes, of course, and with the time that I've spent in the industry, I've been able to build a solid buyers list. So the reason why I feel this is very important for you to know is when you get into remote wholesaling, it's crucial to understand that you need a buyers list. I have a buyers list from people in Asia. I have a buyers list from people in Europe. I also have a buyers list from people in the United States and South America, as well as all over the world. It's crucial because people all over the world are always looking for opportunities to invest their money in foreign markets if they know that there is a good return. So the excuse of saying you're in a different country, that you can't do a wholesale deal in another country, that excuse is false. My girlfriend, before I met her, actually lived in Thailand and did a wholesale deal in Miami at the time. And she was able to flip that contract to a Miami buyer and actually close and make $60,000 while she lived in Thailand. She had never been to the United States prior to this. So it's not just my experience, but also other people that I know that have been able to take advantage of this remote wholesaling as long as they have a clear understanding as to what the process is. So let's go into remote wholesaling. Let's learn some more information. Now, why has remote wholesaling become a phenom in today's industry? Now, due to the growth of technology, remote wholesaling has become something of a phenom in today's real estate investing market because most buyers and sellers use technology to find deals as the old methods of wholesaling is slowly becoming obsolete. Let me explain what that means. In the past, when a buyer a buyer or a real estate investor was looking to find a property, one of the things that they would do is they would look at their local market, they will call, or they would have a team that would make phone calls. That team would set up appointments. They themselves or their sales folks will physically drive to these homes, speak to the sellers, get the contract signed at the home of the seller, and then leave and turn around and get on the phones and then try to reach out to as many buyers as they have on the market to see if they can get somebody to buy the property. Well, that's still an effective method in some instances, but it's no longer as effective as it used to be, simply because we have companies like Open Door, OfferPad, Zillow, HotPads, Realtor.com, Redfin, all of these companies that have decided to come into the market, and they just don't focus strictly on the purchasing and the selling of properties, but they are also looking at helping with the real estate investing side of real estate. So what I'm trying to make you understand is if you are just strictly focused on utilizing the old methods of trying to find deals, or you feel like this is going to be a process that you can use to find deals, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you would find yourself struggling and not able to find deals. So what I was able to do was in the pandemic year in 2020, I was able to close on 13 deals in that 1 year, which is equivalent to one deal a month. And each deal paid me at least $10,000 a month. So in order for me to get to that kind of a deals structure where I'm making $10,000 every single month, I knew that I had to be able to break out of old habits. In 2020, the reason why remote wholesaling became something of a phenom, if you will, was we were forced to be in the pandemic where we couldn't interact with each other and we had to practice social distancing. In a time like that, I was able to take so much of my time to learn about how technology works and how you can utilize technology to make yourself a good amount of return just from a passive income that you can receive from remote wholesaling. So it's crucial to understand that when you get into remote wholesaling, you can have the ability to make a lot of money because no longer is your local market your limit. You have the chance to do a wholesale deal in any market, in anywhere. Now, of course, there will be certain protections that I want us to talk about as we go through this process. The reason it being that your money is extremely, extremely important. So risk management is also extremely high because scams and frauds can also occur during remote wholesaling. So I'm going to share with you guys some of the mistakes that I made. I'm also going to tell you guys some of the things that I would say you should look out for. So when you get into remote wholesaling, you can start to see returns without having to deal with the risk. Again, at the bottom of the description below is my information for the course. The reason why I have my course as something that's very crucial for you to be able to leverage is because you have to understand the basics of what true wholesaling is. And by understanding the basics of that, you can now implement that when you are looking at doing a remote wholesaler. So the second thing is the use of mailers have proven ineffective in today's market. Therefore, social media targeted ads have allowed for distressed sellers to contact buyers in all markets. Folks, I can't stress this enough. If you were to go back to the old ways of trying to wholesale, you're a We Buy House company and you decide to put on a mailer and you send these mailers out to people and you're telling them, hey, my name is Casey and I'm a Casey We Buy Houses. I hate to be the bearer of bad news again, but that mailer is probably going to end up in somebody's garbage can. The reason is people get so much mail, a lot of those mails being junk mail, and your We Buy Houses mailer is junk mail. I'm going to repeat myself. A lot of people get a lot of junk mail. So when they see your We Buy Houses mailer, they don't look at it as a great opportunity or as a blessing. They throw it right in the trash. Think about this, folks. How many times have you gotten a mail and in the mail is a check for $60,000 that says you just have to call this number and apply for a loan? So people get money thrown at them in all sorts of ways. How do you expect to send somebody a mailer in 2022 when they have a million junk mail in their spam folder? They have a million spam calls calling them a day. And then now they get your junk mail that says, we plan to buy your house, without you being able to actually leverage your resource and talking to the seller. The chances of that person calling you because they have a problem is slim to none. So what has happened is social media has allowed for the markets to get so much smaller and shrink. What that means is anybody can reach out to anybody now and give them an opportunity to buy their house regardless of their location, because social media doesn't restrict you as to who you can contact. See, as a person who I've lived in the US for about 21 to 22 years now, I still have family in Africa. I still have family in Europe. I'm able to contact and communicate with my family in Europe and in Africa because I have social media, and social media makes that possible. So on a daily basis, I can reach out to anybody that I know and I can have a full lengthy conversation, either be it voice conversations or I can even do a simple text conversation. The reason is because social media has made the world a much smaller place. Therefore, you sending out mailers to your local market, letting them know that you're a local investor, and all of those things don't work to your favor anymore. Hence the reason why remote wholesaling has become a big and important factor in today's market. So again, folks, try to think about ways that you can leverage yourself and your market. Try to think about ways that you can separate yourself from the competition. And this is what this is going to help you understand, is how remote wholesaling can be that way to separate you from the rest of the folks who are still stuck in their ways and trying to do the business the old way. Now, the reason behind the logic that I'm kind of explaining to you guys is most distressed sellers are counting on buyers, which I mean like yourself, not being completely up to date on their market. And they believe that they can get a top dollar from an out-of-state or out-of-country investor. Folks, how many times have we heard about how we expect, investors from other countries like China or Asian countries throwing top dollar at these properties in California? We hear that news all the time. So what do you think that means to somebody who is looking at selling a distressed property when they think you're an out-of-state or out-of-country investor? How do you think that person will be responsive to you? That person would see an opportunity and think that you don't know about their market, so they feel that they can get more money from you than somebody who is a local investor that sees what happens day to day on the market. So again, guys, remote wholesaling is a great opportunity. When we used to do our remote wholesaling in 2020, I used to let the sellers know every single time I called. I did all my deals in San Antonio and Indiana. I also did in 2019, I did my deals in the Bahamas. And then in 2020 and 2021, I did the deals in South America. So, which is Costa Rica and Colombia. So when I was doing my deals in 2020 from Dallas, Texas to San Antonio and Indiana, I used to always let them know right off the bat that, hey, I'm an out-of-state investor. I live in Dallas. I don't know your market. I just have an interest in your property. And they loved that. Whenever I also did the social media ads and they would reach out to me, that would always be the first thing I would mention, because they felt that I can give them a little bit more money simply because I didn't understand their market as well as they thought that I did. Folks, there's even a thing now where you have companies out there, you have some of these new real estate investment companies, even older real estate investment companies that are sending out these deals and hoping that they can trap new investors into overpaying for a deal. My business partner sent me a deal yesterday that a wholesaler was trying to sell. The property's ARV, which is the after repair value of the property, meaning after everything is done, the house is ready to be resold on the market, was $217,000. This wholesaler had this property listed at $215,000. So what he was saying is, you had to buy this property, do all the work in it, and you would only make $2,000. I mean, that's not even possible, because by the time you do the work in the property, you'll be in the negative. So his thought process was hoping that there were other outside investors that weren't aware of the market, that was just willing to throw cash at this property. That's how a lot of people think when they're dealing with out-of-state investors. So what I'm trying to say is, you as a out-of-state remote wholesaler, you have leverage, because when you speak to the people who are selling their properties in this out-of-state market, this becomes something that you can leverage and use for your own benefit. So again, folks, you utilize the leverage you have. It's extremely crucial to do so. It gives you the ability to make a good return on your investment. It also allows you to get those big assignment fees. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about how mine works. And of course, as we go through this, I just also want to help you guys to become successful enough that as you learn about this process, you can teach that to other people. And this is how we make the world go round. So the next thing is steps to become a remote wholesaler. Now, in order to become a remote wholesaler, all you need, like I mentioned earlier, is a reliable internet connection, a smartphone, proper communication skills, and basic knowledge of wholesaling real estate. Folks, if I could underline this part, I would, because this has to be the most important part out of this whole conversation. A reliable internet connection, check. Smartphone, check. Proper communication skills, check. Now, this part, I can't stress enough. You have to have basic knowledge of wholesaling real estate. There's so many videos on YouTube. There's so many videos online that you can use to at least get the understanding of wholesaling real estate. I hear some people throw these fancy terms all around. I mean, I've heard a friend of mine that's used the word subject to all the time. And these fancy words are good to know, but you have to understand, again, when I say basic knowledge of wholesaling real estate, I'm talking about the risk associated with wholesaling real estate. Because again, if you go into something without fully understanding 100% what the risk factors are, you would end up like I did in the beginning of the process of wholesaling real estate, and you would lose a lot of money. I was very, very transparent on my last real estate video that I made. And I told you guys how I lost so much money. I had somebody who put me through a probate situation, which really hurt me. I had, $140,000 that I got invested in that I had to lose. I've had multiple situations where I've lost money from my form of earnest money. So what I'm saying is, not having the basic knowledge, and when I say basic knowledge, I mean the risk management aspect of wholesaling real estate, is what causes a lot of early investors to fail and them to quit. So I want you to avoid that. Again, my course is in the link in the description below. So if you feel like you want to take advantage and to learn more about the basic knowledge of wholesaling real estate, this is where I hope that I can bring value to you. So again, folks, In order for you to become a wholesaler, just remember that you need these few things. They're nothing, you don't need anything special. And like I always mention, you don't need to have capital to get involved into this. So meaning you can't use the excuse that you don't have money. A lot of people say, well, I don't have enough money to get started. That's the worst excuse that you can use in this business, because money is not required to get started in this business. I've never seen any other business out there that doesn't require you to have some money. Everything else requires you to at least input some of your money, even down to crypto investing. You can invest in cryptocurrency without having a little bit of money to do so. This business requires you to have zero capital to get involved in it, as long as you understand the basics and the basic knowledge of wholesaling real estate. So it also helps you to learn your target market, to ensure there isn't a saturation of wholesalers. For those of you who are foreign investors who live in other countries, you are very fortunate. This is the reason I say this, is a lot of folks in the United States are starting to catch on to wholesaling real estate. It's slowly becoming a phenom. So not only are you going to be competing with the people in your local market, but you'll be competing with other remote wholesalers as well, who are trying to just simply target properties in the United States. So what I'm asking you to do, branch out, okay? Branch out. Look at other properties overseas. There's a huge number of properties that you can flip for a good profit, and even a much higher profit margin than trying to flip a single family house in your backyard. Folks, I can't stress this enough. My Bahamas deal paid me well over $100,000 on just one deal. One deal, guys. So what I'm saying is, why do you want to be so focused on trying to flip mom and pop's house across the street when you can flip a house in another country and make 10 times that amount that you would make? I just told you guys in 2020, I was making around $10,000 a month, which was, or a little bit over 10,000, because I flipped 13 deals, but we have 12 months in the year. So what that means is, in one deal that I did alone in the Bahamas, I made more money than I did for the whole 2020 flipping deals in the United States. So what I'm trying to ask you is, why don't you try to flip a deal outside of your country, or at least outside of your local market? By doing that, you have the chance to make a lot more money. If you strictly put yourself in a box and you focus on saying, okay, this is just all I'm going to do, then what you've done is you've cornered yourself, and now you don't have the ability to expand. So I'm asking you to learn how to expand, and also learn those target markets to see which target market works best for you. That's the beauty of social media, folks. That's the beauty of technology. You have the ability to go as far and as wide as you want. The world is your playground. You know, it's crazy because my girlfriend and I was talking the other day, and I was mentioning to her, I said, most of the times I go on vacation now, I'm not really looking for it. But these deals come to me, and I'm on a vacation. I'm sitting beachside. I'm sitting in my high rise loft. I'm just hanging out, enjoying myself, not even thinking about anything. And I take a walk down the street, and I can have a conversation with someone. They ask me, hey, what is it that you do? I say, I'm into real estate. I'm a real estate investor. And boom, before you know it, I'm having a conversation. I'm back in the US. We're exchanging information back and forth. And then I have a contract. And I have my buyers list. I reach out to the buyers list, and I have somebody who says, yeah, I would love to buy this property. I've been looking for properties in this market. I just don't want to go through the traditional route. And now guess what? That person has a deal. I get paid. The seller's happy, and everybody wins. So what I'm saying is, allow the world to be your playground. Don't look at this as work. Don't look at this as, oh, I have to wake up every morning. I have to make 100 calls. I have to go to different apartments or different houses. I have to do all of these things. Because the minute you do that, then there's going to come a time where you get burnt out. I get the best of both worlds. I get to enjoy myself. I get to travel, and I get to make money at the same time. So I'm asking you to try the same process. I'm saying, take advantage of the fact that the world is such a small place now. Thank you to the social media experts, to the people who have created social media, for allowing us the ability to now be able to expand our base. So again, utilize this and see how you can also ensure that you can learn about the target markets that you're interested in. I had a conversation with a friend of mine this morning. He's had a few properties in the United States. He's slowly, over a period of 7 years, bought single family homes, and each year he buys, between every other year or so, he buys one single family home. And now, with the way the housing market has drastically increased, he's selling each of these houses, and his goal is to reinvest in properties in Turkey and in Saudi Arabia and in the United Emirates. So now he has the capital to be able to put this money in a different market and get a much bigger return on his investment. So what I'm saying is expand your mind, folks. Just another example before now I'll move on from this is I was looking at the other day at savings accounts, right? And I was looking at savings accounts in multiple countries. Did you guys know in the country called Georgia, there's a country called Georgia, the Georgian country is what it's called. It's called Georgia, right? So it's not a state of Georgia. It's actually a country called Georgia. The interest rates for savings accounts start at 10%. So what that means is if you were to put your money in a bank account in Georgia, now there are processes. You have to have a company, a U.S. company. You have to have certain things, and not just a U.S. company. So if you're in a different country, you have to have a company. You have to be able to show it's not a money laundering. They will do their due diligence to make sure it's not, of course, it's not drug money or any of this kind of capital. But if they can see that, you're a legit business, you have the chance to make 10% ROI on your money. You know how much money the United States bank pay? 0.05%, less than 0.5%. So that means if you put $10,000 in a bank account in the United States, you make $50. You put that same $10,000 in the bank account in Georgia, you make $1,000. So I'm giving you guys this as an example to say, expand your mind. Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of this local market mentality that you have, because the minute you do so, you will now start to see much higher returns on your capital. And you would have more money to be able to do more things, and you'll be able to live the life of your dreams. Guys, the essence of life is not to work till the day you get put in the ground. The essence of life is to build enough of a reservoir so you can do the things you want to do. So the day you get put in the ground and you're shown those pictures as to your life and the story of your life, people would look and say, wow, I wish I can have a life half as fun as this person, because this person lived a full life. And that's my intent for you today. So let's get back into this remote wholesaling. Let's talk some more about this. Again, remote wholesaling gives you an edge as it saves you transportation costs. So now you're not driving all over town, going to multiple properties. It allows you to also be transparent between your buyers and your sellers, because you are the middleman. I can give you guys an example. When I had my deal in the Bahamas, I sold these deals to two investors out of Philadelphia. The property was in the Bahamas, and I'm in Dallas, Texas. So what happened was I put this property on the contract. I believe I kind of gave you guys some information about that on my last video. And if you guys haven't seen it, please all go ahead and look at the video that talks about building passive income using real estate. I have that also on my YouTube channel. I went ahead and I mentioned that I traveled to Costa Rica. I met a gentleman in Costa Rica. He happened to own the hotel I was staying in, and he had other hotel properties and multifamily properties all over the world. We had an agreement where I put his property in the Bahamas under contract, and I was able to flip that contract to an investor, two guys out of Philadelphia. These gentlemen both traveled to Nassau, and then they took the boat to Freeport, Bahamas, which is where the property was located. They spoke to the property manager. They walked the property. They loved it. They put an offer, and we closed. And I was able to get over $100,000 on that deal alone. So I only spent money when I decided to make it a vacation. When I got a chance to go to the Bahamas, I had a chance to have a vacation and also to make some money. It was the best of both worlds for me. So it's, again, the option for you to be able to leverage that. And then also we can even talk about the fact that I was able to write that money off in my taxes because it was a business expense to travel. So guys, ladies, imagine this. Imagine when your vacation become write-offs. Imagine when your vacation become tax write-offs. That's what this is, folks. That's the joy of remote wholesaling. You get to travel to countries you never imagined traveling to, and you get to close deals where you never imagined you're closing deals. All because you did the steps necessary to separate yourself from the pack that is choosing to chase deals in their local market. You as a middleman, you can make so much money by understanding the basics of remote wholesaling. Again, the course, the link to the course is in the description below. Leverage that information, and by learning, you can now become that international wholesaler that gets to make so many deals a year in different places in the world. Now, folks, part of this video is to also talk about risk management, because again, there's a lot of scams out there. There's a lot of people that would try to take advantage of you. So we want to be very careful of that, okay? So the next thing is, most markets do not require you to be licensed in that market to wholesale real estate in their local market. Now, I mentioned earlier in the beginning of this call, I talked about how some countries don't frown, or they don't actually allow for you to be a wholesaler. So in cases like this, there are ways that you can still wholesale a deal and you can get paid your assignment fee as long as you set the deal up properly. So look at right here. I just want to kind of point out to you guys a few things, right? So again, this is something that I feel is very crucial. Which countries which countries invest in the United States? And I'm talking about on the real estate, from a real estate perspective. You're looking at Japan. Japan does over 373 billion in US investments. Luxembourg, 243 billion. Germany does over 224 billion. Netherlands does over 305 billion. The British Virgin Islands, such a small country, does over $100 billion investment. France does 223 billion. Switzerland does 224 billion. Canada does 261 billion. Belgium does 100 billion. The UK does $449 billion. Again, these are just countries that are investing in the US, from emerging markets to real estate to crypto to stocks. I mean, these are all capital coming into the United States. My thing is, you have the ability to do the same. Yes, granted, these are corporations with a lot of capital. You are not competing with them because your business model doesn't require you to have a lot of capital. So why not leverage this, folks? What's stopping you? Is it fear? I'm not asking you to take a huge step and to find somebody and to send them money and say, hey, I want to buy this property. No, I'm saying learn the market first, right? I'm saying learn the basics of remote wholesaling first. Learn the basics of wholesaling first. Understand what this can do for you, and then use that and build yourself a future. Folks, you can make so much money in this business. I can't stress this enough. So the US is one of the few countries in the entire world. Again, I'm talking to you folks that aren't living in the United States, that are probably looking at, how can you start to build yourself a good reserve of income? How can you start to get yourself to see and to live the life of your dreams? Understand this: the US, just like a few other countries out there, is one of the few countries alone that allows for international and foreign residents to buy and invest in real estate without the citizenship. Most other countries will try to require that you get citizenships to buy real estate in their market. The US does not require that. You don't have to have a green card or a citizenship to buy real estate in the United States. And the crazy part is, there are lenders out there that are willing to lend to foreign nationals. You don't have to have a green card, folks. You don't have to have the documentation to say you are a US citizen to buy real estate here in the United States. And you can make a huge, huge killing when it comes to your return on your investment, as long as you do the work, you do the right things. So the sky's the limit for you. Don't get cornered and don't think that, hey, I have to have XYZ amount of money. I have to be this person. I have to get my citizenship. I mean, you put all these limitations on yourself, but you haven't done the research. So without the research, you automatically think you don't qualify for these things, but you can. You can make this. You can become involved in real estate, especially in the United States. We're inviting foreign nationals to come into this country and to buy real estate, to invest in real estate, to grow your portfolio. We want you guys to do that. Getting registered in the US allows for easy taxation. Therefore, any country can get involved in real estate investing, provided they follow the proper channels. I want to go ahead and give you guys a little bit of information on this because this isn't included in my course. But when you are looking at buying real estate in any market, especially in other countries, it's important for you to understand the laws. Some countries allow you to open up a company in that country, so it allows them to be able to tax you. So when you purchase this property. So again, remember, you have the ability to get involved in real estate in any country as long as you understand the tax laws. I want you guys to do me a favor. Start researching the tax laws in the country you plan to invest in. Start researching the channels that would allow you to be able to invest in that country, and start understanding what that market requires from you so you can get involved in it. I'm not a tax attorney. I'm not an attorney, so I can't tell you what the laws of each country has. But what I can tell you is when I did my deal in the Bahamas does not allow for you to do wholesale deals. They don't allow for you to do double closings. They don't allow for you to flip the contract. But I still made $120,000 by doing a wholesale deal. What I did was not illegal. What I did was much different than what people would consider a traditional wholesale deal. So to give you guys a little bit of a synopsis as to what that looked like, what I did was I opened up a sister company of One Mark LLC, which is my company in the Bahamas. And my company was paid a marketing/consulting fee for being able to put the deal together. So the seller agreed that I was going to resell her house, her property. It was a 12-unit property. I was going to resell that 12-unit property for a little bit more money. And the buyer agreed that they were going to pay me a fee, a marketing/consultation fee/finder's fee. However way you want to word it, that's completely up to you. It was considered a finder's fee/marketing/consulting fee. And that fee was $120,000. All because I was able to find a deal, put the deal on the contract, and flip the contract to the new buyer. That country doesn't allow for wholesaling, but again, there are ways around it that you can still get paid your assignment/commission fee without having to be a licensed real estate agent. So what I'm saying is the sky is the limit as long as you understand the laws involved in each country. A country like Colombia doesn't go against wholesaling, so you can find a property and flip the contract, and the country completely allows you to do that, just like the US does. A country like Costa Rica is a little different. So each country has different requirements, but again, what this involves is having the right team in place. I want to be available to you guys, so I'm always ready to answer questions or to give you some feedback or guidance, as long as you are willing and you are hungry to get involved in this. But again, folks, I can't make you guys do this. This has to be something you want. It helps to get an attorney to assist you with the set steps required to set up your company in the United States. And I can speak for the US because I live here in the US and I conduct most of my business here in the US. But the attorneys can help you get started in being able to understand how to flip your deals for a profit. For those of you that are foreign nationals that would like to invest in the United States, there are attorneys out there that would be glad to help you, that will be glad to point you in the right direction and allow you to start to see a profit where you don't have to leave the comfort of your home country and you can still make the required profit. I understand some countries, the process of getting a visa to come to the US is hard. So you might not have the ability to even travel to see the property that you're purchasing. But by setting yourself up the right way and by putting yourself in the right position, you have the ability to still make a profit and still close on these deals and live a happy, healthy, wealthy, successful life. That's the goal for every one of us, folks. So please leverage this information. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about my experience in remote wholesaling. These are just some of the deals that I've closed. I kind of just put this all here so you guys can see it for yourself. The Copacabana in Jaco, Costa Rica. That was one property in Jaco, Costa Rica, was in a really bad shape. We had a chance to take a look at it. We put the property on the contract. Now that property, again, just things like eminent domain and things you have to be careful about. But these are things that you learn as you get involved in the business. You know, the Dundee Bay Villas in Freeport, Bahamas, I explained to you guys how that process worked. You know, how I was able to make well over 6 figures on that deal just by being able to find the right buyer for it. Again, I mentioned to you guys, I lived in Dallas, which is 5 hours away from San Antonio. I didn't drive to San Antonio. I haven't been to San Antonio since 2019, but I closed 13 deals while living in Dallas, Texas, right? I also even closed another deal in Hammond, Indiana. I've never been to Hammond, Indiana. The property, or the way I put that property on the contract was I actually did Mojo dialing. So I used the dialer. I called on multiple property owners, something a little bit untraditional, which I shouldn't have done, but that was just what I knew then. I didn't understand remote wholesaling like I do now. And upon calling so many sellers, I was able to find someone who was willing to put their property on a contract with me. They put it on a contract with me for $24,000. I resold that property for around $62,000. So I made a profit of close to $38,000 in that deal without even seeing the property. All I saw were the pictures that they sent. And of course, the buyers who were interested, they physically went into the property, walked the property, sent me an offer. We sent the information to title. We made sure everything was clear title and all those things, and everybody was happy. I also closed the deal in Lufkin, Texas. Lufkin, Texas is closer to, I believe it's closer to like New Orleans or Houston. God knows, I've never been to Lufkin, and no disrespect to those of you living in Lufkin. I don't really see myself ever going to Lufkin, Texas. Again, I apologize if you are from Lufkin and you're watching this. I'm sure it's a great town. It's a wonderful place. I just have never been, and I don't even know where it is. But what I do know is I had a Facebook social media ad that we put out there, and somebody from Lufkin, Texas, just like the people from San Antonio, reached out to me as well. Upon reaching out to me, they sent us pictures. We sent the information to title. We got the buyers that were willing to drive and go see the property in Lufkin because they wanted to physically do the fix and flip themselves for the profit. We understood what the comparables in the market would be because we have the tools and the strategy to do that. That's where the basics of understanding wholesaling real estate comes into play. When you have those things in mind, then you have the ability to expand. So by understanding this, we were able to put the property on the contract. We made sure we had a lot of room for the investors to come in and to flip and to make their money. If I remember, we put the property on the contract for $115,000. We flipped that deal for $135,000. So we only made $20,000. It wasn't that much, but we made $20,000 on that deal between myself and my partner. We then turned around and we knew that the ARV on that deal was $215,000. So what that meant was whoever purchased that property, after they made the repairs and they paid the realtor and they paid everything they had to pay, they still knew they were going to walk out with a return on their investment for at least $40,000 to $50,000. We wanted to set it up that way to give the investor a reason to continue to do business with us. And that's why, again, I go back to the hammering the basics of understanding the knowledge of wholesaling real estate, because when you understand the basics and you understand the math involved, the sky is the limit. But when you try to do the shortcut, and again, no disrespect to anyone, I'm not saying that I'm the smartest person out there, but what I'm saying is my course is relatively detailed enough to help you to understand this. I talked to you guys about a friend of mine who had watched a few videos, and he was just gone home about moving forward. And I wasn't trying to discourage him. I was just trying to let him know you have to understand the basics of wholesaling real estate. Because what you do is you find yourself getting involved in deals, and you will quit quickly because you don't get to move your deals. I started this in 2017. I found myself looking for deals and just randomly throwing offers. Let me even let you guys know, this is how bad it was, okay? What I did in 2017 and 2018, and I got 0 deals from this, was I went on the MLS because I had my real estate license, and I sent out offers to almost every single property owner on the MLS, just random offers. I call it, they call it poop and spray, or, where you get to just throw stuff on the wall and you hope it sticks. That's what I did. I was just reaching out to everybody. Hey, I'll make you an offer. I want to buy a house. I want to buy a house. And people just ignore me. Because I thought, hey, if I send this guy an offer for $20,000 less, or if I send this guy an offer for $1,000, like I just thought I was smart. But because I didn't understand the basics of wholesaling real estate, it took me at least 2 years of making silly mistakes like this before I found out my first deal. And on my first deal, I made $30,000. How did I go from being a guy just throwing numbers out there, to a guy who can have a conversation with you guys now? Because I was able to see a lot of success from wholesaling real estate. It's not because I listened to a few YouTube videos. It's not because I heard what some guru said, or I went to a couple of RIAs. I did do all of those things. But I have to also understand the strategy involved behind wholesaling real estate. And that's the part that you cannot skip. You can't skip that basics, because it's like saying you want to be an excellent basketball player, but you refuse to learn how to shoot, you refuse to learn how to dribble, and you refuse to learn how to pass. How are you going to be a good basketball player? Or you want to be a great NFL receiver, but you refuse to learn how to catch, or you refuse to learn how to block, or you refuse to learn how to read how to run routes. How do you expect to do that? I find it pretty crazy when somebody tells me they want to be a wholesaler, they want to get involved in wholesaling real estate, but they don't understand the basics. I can tell within 5 minutes of asking you a couple of questions if you know what you're talking about with wholesaling real estate or not. I don't care how much terminology you throw my way. And guess what? If I can tell, so can your sellers. Because your sellers are not stupid. They're not looking for somebody to come out there and buy their house for extremely cheap. And yeah, sure, why don't I work so hard for 30 years and pay this mortgage down? And then you know what? You come and you take all the equity just because you think you're smarter than the person. Come on, folks. That's not how it works. People are not stupid. So you have to have a strong value proposition, and that's what basics of wholesaling real estate does for you. It allows you to have a strong understanding as to what wholesaling real estate is. So when you present yourself to the seller, that seller is excited to do business with you. That's what my course would help you with. That's what these real estate courses that are being put out there helps people with. Again, guys, I'm not saying just my course is the only course out there you should buy. I would prefer if you buy my course. I'll be appreciative of it, and I will do my best to help you get your first deal. But on the other hand, you can't skip the basic steps. I spent so much money in education in wholesaling real estate in order for us to get my first deal. I was fortunate enough that my business partner has spent $1,400 just so we can learn how to do social media ads. Because unfortunately, you can't just go on Facebook and type in, oh, I'm a weak buy house cash buyer, and just put it out there. Facebook is going to ban your stuff. So we had to learn that process. Those are part of the things that we're going to help teach you, so you know how to go into this market and you know how to close these deals without having concerns or problems, without getting scammed. So again, guys, I want you guys to take a look at this board, because this shows you how I was able to get my deals and how I'm able to have these conversations with you. I recently started a YouTube channel, and my YouTube channel, I get to talk about motivational. I get to, try to push people to understand how you can be wealthy, how you don't have to work a 9 to 5. I would never have the opportunity to do this if I didn't put myself in a position where I built enough of reservoir where I don't have to worry if somebody hires me or not. I don't apply for jobs. I don't care I don't care what happens in the economy tomorrow, because I already have a source that allows me to see return on my investment from passive income. You don't get to that point in your life without making the necessary sacrifices. And that's what understanding the basics of wholesaling real estate does for you. It helps you to understand the basics as to how to get involved in this business so you can start to see a return and you can start to live the life you want to live. My mom used to always say this. She says, success doesn't come but through bloodshed. And she doesn't mean literally cutting yourself open so you can see yourself bleeding. No, she means the hours and hours of sacrifice. You know, people talk about Mamba mentality. Oh, you want to have a Mamba mentality. You want to be the greatest thing. It's fun to say it. It sounds great. When you're talking about this, people are looking at you and yeah, it sounds wonderful, but what sacrifice are you willing to put? That's what this business does for you. It weeds out the weak. It weeds out those who are not serious. If you want to be an Uber driver, it's the easiest thing to do. You can get behind the wheel of your car and Uber is going to send you rides. If you want to be a wholesaler that makes money from wholesaling real estate, it requires work. Nobody's going to send you leads. No one is going to reach out to you and say, hey, buy my house, please. And not only do I want you to buy my house, I want to sell my house to you and give you all the equity that I worked so hard for. I told you about my friend that has built himself a pretty nice portfolio of homes over the last 7 to 8 years. Do you think that guy is going to sell his house at a deep discount to you so you can buy that house and you can take all the equity that he's built for 7 years? Now, when you're dealing with most of these people, they've owned their house for longer. 15, 20 years. They've woken up every morning. They've worked in a job they hated. They've done the things they didn't want to do. They spent money on repairs, on maintenance on this house. And then here you think you're just going to come and take off with all the equity? I mean, come on. You might as well have a gun to their head. So what I'm trying to say is you have to understand the basics. So when you are having these conversations with your seller, the seller does not feel like you're trying to rob them. Because that's what you're doing if you think you can close a deal without actually trying to provide value. Forgive me if I'm a little passionate about this, guys, but I just think it's so insane to me when I see people that think that they can just get involved in wholesaling real estate and they can just do it. You know, I've had multiple conversations. I had a lady the other day who, I sat down with her. I tried to help her. I tried to make her understand. I even went as far as giving her leads that I had my own team call, and they had set up appointments. I said, all you have to do is let them know that you are now going to run the appointments. I tried to handhold her the whole way. But to her, it wasn't enough. She wanted me to go and close the deal for her and then turn around and give her the capital. It's like, wow. You have to want this a little bit more than that, folks. So again, I want you guys to get your first deal. I want you guys to be able to get involved in this. But in order for you to do that, you also have to want this. And how you want this is by the things that you show yourself that you're willing to do. The first step being willing to understand and learn the basics of wholesaling, putting yourself out there. Being hungry enough to say, I want this, so I'm willing to learn what I need to learn. So when I go out to the market, I am going out there with the tools. It's like a soldier. You are a soldier in life. You're a real estate soldier. You don't go out as a real estate soldier without your weapon to be able to attack whatever you're going to attack. So how are you supposed to go out into the marketplace without any tools and you expect deals to come your way? What makes you so special? Nothing. I don't care how great of a seller you are. Everybody believes you're a great salesperson. I think I'm a wonderful salesperson. I feel like I can sell water to a well. But guess what? I've had so many no's told to me. When I got started for 2 years, I made $0 trying to wholesale deals simply because I refused to learn the basics. And until I said, I'm going to put myself in a position where sink or swim, do or die, I must learn what I must learn. Then I started to see success. And even then I started making mistakes because I refused to take time to learn as much as I needed to before I got into the business. Then I started seeing people slowly showing me how they can take the money away from my pocket. I shared with you guys how I lost $11,000 from trying to do a deal, a JV deal with another wholesaler. These are things that I did because I wasn't willing to put in the work to learn. So guess what? The person who was willing to put in the work to learn, they took that away from me because it was their right to do that because I wasn't intelligent enough. So why do you guys want to make the mistakes I made, guys? Why do you want to learn the hard way? Not everybody has a stomach to learn this way. So I want you to take this and to say, I'm going to make the decision to take it from a different perspective and use the knowledge that I can acquire and use that as an ammunition so I can go out there and get into the market and get the best that I can for myself. So let's talk a little bit again about how you guys can get your first remote wholesaling deal. There are different types of deals, right? So one is the typical deal types that you're looking at are single family, multi-family, as well as commercial, which would be office, space, hospitality, medical facilities, and things like that. The first thing I'm going to tell you is when you look at a typical deal type, please, 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 God, I hope I can hammer this into your head. Please avoid deals where you can't get an accurate title search. Please. I can't plead with you enough about this. If you can, please avoid any deals where you can't get an accurate title search. I don't care how great the deal is. I don't care how much money you think you're going to make on this deal. I had a deal in River Oaks, Texas. I went ahead, I put this property on a contract. I couldn't get an accurate title search, but in my haste to try to make money, without caring about what the repercussions were, I took the money that I had made and I took that capital and I threw it into this deal because I saw so much more money in my future, guys. That's all I thought about was, oh, I'm going to make $60,000, $80,000. It's like, wow, I was just tunnel vision on this. And then I found out this property was under probate. I found out the seller had his nephew and his niece, or his nephew and his girlfriend, I don't know who this lady was, both claiming that they had rights to the property. And I ended up going to court 4 times. I spent over $2,000 on a lawyer, and I still had to spend $2,000 plus to give the property back to the guy. So not only did I give him $60,000 plus thinking I was going to make 60 to 80,000 on this, I still spent another $5,000 just to give the house back. I mean, how horrible was that? Just imagine the feeling knowing that you lost $60,000 to somebody because you didn't do the right thing in the first place. And then not only did you lose $60,000 and you're pissed about that, now you have a lawyer that collects another $5,000. Actually, it's a little more than $5,000 because we ended up going with 3 different lawyers. We kept trying to find a way to go around this, right? Then it's like another over $5,000 just to give the house back to the guy. Like, that's crazy. And imagine if I just did an accurate title search in the beginning. That's all I had to do. I would have saved myself $65,000. But I wasn't willing to do that because I thought I was smart, because I thought I didn't need to learn the basics of wholesaling real estate, because I thought I could do it myself. I'm this intelligent guy who can do whatever he wants to do. A lot of people think that way. And there's a reason a lot of people continue to be in the lives they live. So I'm saying that's not you guys. You are going to be different, right? Single family deals, multi-family deals, commercial real estate, retail offices, hospitality, and medical centers. Those are great deals that you can wholesale. You can see great returns from these deals. Commercial real estate, thanks to COVID, and I hate to use the word thanks to COVID, but COVID created so many vacancies in commercial real estate properties, not just in the United States, but all over the world. So places that you can go to, these outside shopping complexes, shopping malls, and you see multiple for lease signs. That's an opportunity for you right there. You can take advantage of that. You can flip these properties to an investor by buying it at a deep discount, because guess what? The person who owns that commercial real estate space is paying a mortgage for it. And every month that they don't have a tenant occupying that space, that's money out of his pocket. If the guy owns a 4-unit commercial space and he only has 2 tenants, and his 2 tenants are probably helping him pay half that mortgage, the remaining half of the mortgage, plus the taxes, plus the insurance, plus any other maintenance cost is coming out of this guy's pocket or this lady's pocket. So you have an opportunity to go there, give them a chance, say, let me take this problem away from you. Let me help you. And by getting the property under contract, you have the chance to flip this to a commercial real estate investor somewhere else. Most people, they only look at their local market. They don't look outside of their local market. So he gets a realtor, his realtor posted on the local MLS. Now, again, remember, every single city or state has an MLS. The Dallas MLS is not available to the San Antonio people who live in San Antonio. The Chicago, those who live in Chicago can't market their property on their local MLS to somebody who lives in Indiana or in Georgia or something else. Now, thankfully, there's places like LoopNet, there's social media where the smarter real estate agents are able to put this on these national media sites or CBRE, for example. But for somebody who's already struggling, who's barely able to make the rent payments, who's probably facing foreclosure, which there are a ton of commercial foreclosures coming up, that person is not trying to go deal with an agent who's going to take 180 days to 2 years to close on his property. He doesn't have that. That's where you come into play. That's how you can come and help the person save some money. And not only save some money, you can also help yourself make some money as well. Folks, I'm so passionate about this, and I hope you guys can see this, because this has been a blessing to me. And I see so many people that live a life, and I've met so many people that want to do what I do, but it's like they're just not willing to go that little extra mile. And that's why you are different, because you're willing to go a little bit extra. You're willing to take a step further and say, this is something I want to do. So I'm willing to do what it takes to be able to do that. So guys, I hope you're able to learn something from this portion, because again, there's so many deal types that you can leverage. I've shown you guys how I was able to leverage these deals. I was able to do 2 out of these 4, right? So I did single family and I did multifamily. I've not looked into the commercial real estate space, but this is also something that you have the ability to do. So there's enough meat on the bone for everybody. The competition is not extremely stiff. Again, like I mentioned, unlike other businesses, you require some form of capital to get involved in it. With this one, you don't require any capital outside of what you might have to pay for education. In the case of my course, it's $299 on Thinkific, which is an LMS site. It gives you all the access you need. I have tools such as my contracts. I have my repair estimate sheet. I have every information, even a cold call script, to allow you to have a guided conversation with your sellers. I'm giving you all these tools. That's all you have to worry about dealing with. Everything else you can do without any capital involvement. And for those of you who feel you can do it on your own, you might have to learn the mistakes and learn the hard way like I did, but you don't really need any capital. So what's stopping you from moving forward? So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the mistakes to avoid upon getting involved in remote wholesaling. Again, these are things that happened to me as well. So I want to be able to share that with you guys also. So again, back to what I said, and I'm sorry it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse, because at the end of the day, this part hurt me so bad. It was my first experience of knowing what it felt like getting screwed being involved in remote wholesaling, right? So the first thing is avoid deals where you can't get an accurate title search. Again, guys, I'm saying this because it hurts so bad where you have to give somebody money and you're never going to get that money back. I mean, I could take the guy to court, but the guy was nothing. He didn't have anything, right? What would they have done? Put a lien on his house? That's what I tried to do. But when I figured I was going to pay a lawyer an additional $5,000 to $10,000 just to have them drag me to a 2-year court process, I didn't have any more stomach for it. All because I refused to do a title search in the beginning or get an accurate title search in the beginning. So avoid deals where you can't get an accurate title search. The next thing is never send money to a distressed seller. Always use your own title company. Folks, this one was another one that I had to deal with. And I hope that you guys learn from this. So I had a deal that I was going to do in South America. I wasn't intelligent enough to understand this. So what I did was I got a property on a contract. I sent it to the title company. It was a reputable title company because, believe this or not, a lot of these US title companies like Fidelity, Title Max, a lot of these title companies, they actually have sister title companies, which are affiliate title companies in foreign countries. So if you go to Thailand, there's Century 21 in Thailand. There's also Century 21 title company in Thailand. So when I told you about my girlfriend before I met her, when she closed her deal, she closed her Miami deal using Century 21 in Thailand because there's a Century 21 in Miami, right? There's a Century 21 in Colombia. There's Century 21 in Costa Rica. There's Century 21 in Bahamas. There's Century 21 in, where else have I been? In Paraguay, there's Century 21, Uruguay, there's Century 21 in Panama. I mean, there's Century 21, I can just start naming a lot of these countries. There's Century 21 in Brazil. I mean, there's Century 21 in all of these countries. In Mexico, there's Century 21s in all these countries. So when it comes time to doing a deal, you don't have to send money to the seller. So what I made a mistake of doing was I put the property on the contract. I put in there I was going to do $1,000 earnest money, and I sent that earnest money, that $1,000, to the seller. I didn't send it to the title company. I sent it to the seller. So I wasn't able to close this deal because there were some problems that I wasn't aware of. So when I sent the people, the buyers, I actually got a buyer to go look at the property. It wasn't like the guy scammed me. No, I sent the buyer to go look at the property. The buyer got to walk the property, and they found out there was some additional issues that weren't shown on the pictures. So when they mentioned the issues, they said, hey, this property has some serious foundation issues. The whole roof needs to be replaced. They gave me an offer that was much less. Now, the problem was because I sent the money to the person, not to the title company, I couldn't get my $1,000 back. I know, I get it. You guys are going to say, bro, you lost 65 grand to a country, to someone here in the US, and you're complaining about 1,000. I don't care. $1,000 still hurt me, right? I don't care if it was 65,000. Yeah, I'm still pissed about that 3 years later, and I'm probably going to be pissed about that for a long time. But the 1,000 still hurt me then. It didn't matter how much money I had made, the 1,000 still hurt. So what I'm saying is, don't lose your $1,000. It's not smart. There's no need. If you can avoid it, why not avoid it? Right? So remember, never send money to a distressed seller. You can never do that, folks. I don't care if that person says, yeah, if you send me this, I'll sign the contract. There's nothing anybody's going to say that would allow me in today's industry, knowing what I know now, to make me send a penny to anybody. I'll send it to the title company of my choice, and I will send it to an American title company because I live in the United States. If you live in a separate country, you send it to your title company. And there are countries out there that don't have title companies. And if your country doesn't use a title company or title insurance, then you send it to your attorney that you trust and you believe in. Because then if the deal goes south, you can always get your money back. You can open up an escrow account where you have control, because again, there's some attorneys that are a little shady. So if you open up an escrow account, you have access to the escrow account. You can't take the money out, but you can show the seller proof that there's money in this escrow account. And if the deal goes the way it's supposed to go, the money in the escrow account belongs to them. So there are ways around this. Please speak to an attorney to give you better direction, but you never, 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 never send money to a distressed seller, ever, please. Okay? Next is pay attention to your due diligence. This is also very crucial. The reason is your due diligence date is what determines if you get paid, if you make any money, or if you lose money. Again, folks, the basics of real estate investing is crucial for you to know. And that's why I'm a huge advocate of doing the education, because the education allows you to be a better equipped individual when it comes to getting involved in this. The people who are doing real estate and are successful and are continuously doing it, that are offering courses, people like myself, people like the Grant Cardones of this world, there's a reason why they do this and they offer you guys courses. It's not because they're trying to get rich from you. That's not the case. The average person, the person without any intelligence, is going to think this guy is trying to get rich by selling me a course. But what you don't understand is, in order for him to be in a position to offer you a course, one, he had to lose a lot of money. So not only did he lose a lot of money, he also had to pay for education. And that's how he got to the point he is. I didn't get to the point I am where I don't have to worry about a 9 to 5, or I don't have to worry if they're hiring or the inflation or any of these things by just simply closing my eyes and throwing a bunch of contracts out there and waiting for somebody to give me a response. No. So that's the same thing. It doesn't work the same way with you guys. So you guys have to learn these things. And in order for you to learn these things, you have to know the things to pay attention to. One of the things you have to learn what to pay attention to is your due dates on your due diligence period. For your due diligence, for commercial properties, you want to look at a longer due diligence period than for a residential property. So in the case of my Bahamas deal that I closed, I gave myself 6 months. That sounds crazy, but I needed all 6 months to close the deal. And I even had to go back and request for an extension, because deals like this take a little bit longer. I live in the US, I live in Dallas, Texas, and the deal is in Freeport, Bahamas. I don't know how long that distance is, but I know it's 2 flights. I know I just can't get in my car and drive to Freeport tomorrow. I mean, it's not Freeport, New Orleans or Freeport, Louisiana. This is Freeport, Bahamas. So it's going to take time to find the right buyer, to find a buyer that's going to give me the price that works. It takes time. Luckily, I've been able to leverage this and I've built a buyer base. So I would like to help you with that. I'm not going to give away my database for free, but I'm going to at least be willing to help you get through your first deal. Taking my course gives you the basics, but it also gives you access to some of the information that I've been able to spend the years and the time acquiring. I have people who have reached out to me and they expect me to just give that away. It's not how it works. It took me a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get that. So you can't, just like I can't expect you to make your first deal and give me half of it just because you took my course. You would look at me like I'm crazy. It's the same thing. I can't expect you to just rob me of my own information, right? So it's the same thing. This is not a business where we try to steal from each other. This is a business where we try to build each other, okay? So again, it's crucial to please pay attention to your due diligence dates. Now, again, guys, make sure you understand the country you're wholesaling and you understand the laws and the requirements. I gave you guys a little brief synopsis. I explained to you guys how countries like in the Bahamas, you can't wholesale deals. So you get paid a marketing / consulting / finder's fee. Other countries are a little different. Even in the United States, some states are a little bit harsher with you on how you can get paid your assignment fee. So there are ways around this. I can help give you some direction, or you can talk to an attorney in your home country to help you get around this. And sometimes if you don't have the money to pay your attorney, give your attorney a small percentage of your deal so you can leverage that resource. If you know you're going to make $100,000 when you flip the deal, you offer your attorney $20,000 when you close, he's going to work for you, or she's going to work for you. Because she doesn't have to do any work, you're still doing all the work, and you're paying them some money. It's called having business sense. And by doing this, now you can learn what the laws are. So your next deal, you might not even have to pay him. Or he might be your partner, and you guys now can do way more deals because he understands the legal side or she understands the legal side, and you're the ones bringing the deal, and you can close more deals that way. So there are ways around this, folks. What I'm saying is don't corner yourself. Don't put yourself in one small pigeonhole, okay? Do your due diligence on the attorney, especially in third world countries. Again, for those of you in the third world countries listening to this, I love you all. I'm not trying to talk bad about anyone. I'm just saying that you have to do your due diligence so you can protect yourself. It's the risk management side of things. When I did my deal in Costa Rica, in Jaco, Costa Rica, I had to go through 3 different attorneys, right? Because one thing in Jaco, Costa Rica, and I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about this, is there's something called eminent domain. What eminent domain is where the government can come in and take your property just because. It doesn't matter if you pay taxes. It doesn't matter what it is. They literally can come in and put a tape around that location and say, this area now belongs to the government. The US also does some form of eminent domain, but there's a process here. They just don't do it overnight. In Costa Rica, they have the ability to do that, especially for beachfront properties. So the Copacabana in Jaco was a beachfront property. So the government could have decided last minute or whenever they wanted to come in and put a marker around that property and say, hey, this now belongs to the government of Costa Rica. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. So when you do your due diligence, your attorney can help you with this, but you also have to know who your attorney is. You also remember, you never send money to your attorney directly until it's time for closing. And even when it's time for closing, you also create a situation that allows everybody to get paid and you to not get screwed. Folks, attorneys are people. They're human beings just like you and I. They have problems just like you and I. Some attorneys don't make as much money. When we hear the word lawyer, we think wealth, but not every lawyer is wealthy. So you get with the wrong attorney, you're going to lose your money. And the idea behind wholesaling or any business is understanding risk management. So I want you guys to learn. Again, guys, going back to my course is not just designed to say, hey, this is how you write a contract, this is how you sign a contract. No, my course is designed to give you protections. So when you go into situations, you can say, wow, I remember Casey had a scenario just like this, so I don't have to go through the same scenario. That's what I want for you. Now, again, remember, have your local title company. For those of you who are in a title company country, title company state, have them work in conjunction with the title company in the market that you're closing to ensure that you're fully protected. Folks, I talked to you guys about Century 21. How there's a Century 21 in almost every country that I know. This is what I'm saying. Make sure that you are working with your local title company. Like I said before, don't send money overseas. Put the money in the title company. Put the money in the title company here in the United States. Put the money in a title company in your home country. If you do deals in Thailand and you're trying to do a deal here from the US in Thailand, don't put the money in the title company in Thailand. Put the money in the title company in the US because they have a sister title company in Thailand. So when it comes time to doing your deal, they can exchange that capital, or they can tell you, hey, we don't have a title company in this state, but we have a title company that works with us that we can send the money when it's time. That way your money is protected. A lot of people are going through a lot of problems. There's money issues everywhere in the world. The minute you send your money off anywhere, say goodbye to that. It's gone. Guys, money is like your woman or your man, for those of you who are, for the female listeners. If you send your man or your woman off to somebody else, to a stranger, there's a chance you might not get them back. If you love your wife, you don't send her to go sleep in your best friend's bedroom with him or by herself. You have to look at money that same way. If you're willing to protect your own asset, your spouse, your person that you love, you're not willing to just put them in any situation, saying, well, you know what? If you love me enough, you come back. Money is not going to come back. It's not going to love you enough to come back. If you treat it that way, you have to treat it like you treat everything else. So folks, remember this. If there's nothing you learned from me today, just remember your due diligence is important, understanding your wholesaling laws is important, and more than anything, focusing on ensuring that you protect yourself. Be fully protected. So let's talk about finding your first buyer for your remote wholesale deal. One of the things that I've used is I use social media to market my deals. Social media is a great way to market my deals. Now, again, I told you, when I put my property on a contract in the Bahamas, it took me 6 months. But that's because I didn't know how to do it. Now I understand the process. It doesn't take me that long. So know how to use social media to market your deals as well as to get the sellers. There's sites out there, sites like Connected Investor. Connected Investor is a great site you can use. You can use Connected Investor to build a good buyers list because investors from all over the world go in, they sign up to become a member of Connected Investors, and they use that as a way to become network to other investors out there. So all these real estate investor sites can be your best friend. And always make sure you have a contract in title prior to marketing the deal. Folks, this one is the all-time, most important thing that you can ever get involved in. My course talks a lot about leveraging real estate and understand that real estate investing is a leverage-based business. It has nothing to do with the way your contract looks. It has nothing to do with the way you look, right? I saw a lady the other day. She's a real estate investor, and when she markets herself, she's practically half naked. She doesn't wear anything. And she's telling you how she can make you a millionaire and make you a real estate investor, and she's practically without any clothes on. How that has nothing to do with how you can close deals. I mean, she looks great to look at, good. It makes you feel good to look at her, great. But that is not going to close you any deals. So you have to remember that your leverage is what allows you to close deals. And how you create leverage is by having a contract in title prior to putting your deal on the market. I thought I was so smart. I found a property. I didn't want to put the property on a contract because I was scared. I was like, what happens if I can't find a buyer? In one of my first deals. And guess what I did? I thought I was the most intelligent person in the world. So I put the property out there to market to see who is going to give me an offer for it. How many of you are going to guess how much I got for that property? That's correct. $0. Zero. You know why? Because a smart person found out that I didn't have the property on the contract, and they made an offer on the property and took it right underneath my feet. Because I didn't want to put myself in a risky position. I was like, hey, you know what? There's no need to put myself out there. So if I get this property on the contract for 50,000, but then I put it on the market for 70, I'm going to make 20. So before I put it for 50,000, let me go ahead and put it on the market for 70 to see who's going to give me offers. Oh yeah, people ask me about it and say, oh, is this property available? Yeah, I have this property to sell to you. Okay. How much did I make from that property? That's correct. Zero. You know why? Because when they asked me about it, they found out the address, they knew where the property was located, and then they reached out to the seller. And the seller was like, I don't know who Casey is. Of course, he's not loyal to me. Why? I just spoke to him about buying his house. God knows how many people did the same thing too. So guess what happened? I lost the deal. And that's what would happen to you if you try to play the smart way. That's why I keep going back to what I'm saying. Folks, this is not just a bid to say, I want to sell 1 million courses. I want everybody to buy my course. No, this is trying to say, please leverage your knowledge so you can leverage your resources. That's how you build passive income. Do you want to be able to stop trading time for money? This is how you can do that. Anything else? No, it's not going to work. You're not going to outsmart other investors. People have been doing this way longer than you. They know the way around it. No matter what you think you know, somebody else knows more. Last, find out about doing a net listing if you have issues with moving the deal by partnering with a local investor. Folks, this is a big one, especially for those of you in other countries. who are looking to doing deals in a country that you're not comfortable with. Let me tell you guys what a net listing is. A net listing is when you have the ability to have a property under contract, and then you tell the seller, listen, I'm going to sell this property for higher than what I listed it, what I'm buying it from you for. Let me give you an example. If I reach out to a seller today and I say, hey, I'm going to buy your house for $100,000. The person seller's like, fine. We get a property under contract. I wait 3 days. I can go back and say, hey, I have a buyer base that are actually interested in the property. The only thing is I'm going to have to list it to my buyers for a little bit higher than what I'm going to buy it from you for. Some sellers are going to say, to heck with you. I'm going to cancel my contract. But you're going to have the sellers who don't want to deal with this headache. There's plenty of them. I actually closed out of my 13 deals. I closed a lot of my deals that way. And this is in San Antonio in the United States. I'm 5 hours away. And what the sellers were like, I don't care. We already agreed to how much you're going to give me. I'm not going to pay any closing costs, and I'm not paying a penny towards fixing this place. So you sell it for whatever you want to sell it. As long as I get my money, I'm good. So I get with the local realtor and I say, hey, I need us to list this house for $125,000 or 120 or whatever it is. If his fee is 10% or 6%, I'm going to include that fee in the price that I'm listing the house for. And I'm going to say the new buyer is going to pay for all the closing costs. Or I'll be willing to pay out of my fee, I'll be willing to pay a portion of the closing cost. So folks, you can leverage all of this stuff. This is something you have the ability to leverage. Now, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about steps to get funding for your first remote wholesale deal. The first thing is you have to learn how to calculate comps in an international market. I'm not going to go into detail on this because it's crucial for you to learn this yourself. Learn how to partner with the local realtor. That can help you get accurate comps because sites like Redfin, Zillow, they might not be a good resource for you in an international market. It's crucial for you to know this. My real estate course teaches you how to be able to calculate comps. So I want you to use that as your leverage. Learn how to also do rental analysis for multifamily because it allows you to look prepared. When you're presenting these deals to an investor, most international multifamily deals don't come with an accurate rent roll or financials. To flip a multifamily, you need these things. So again, guys, when you get the basics down, the steps and everything you need is in your favor. Now I want to talk to you guys a little bit about steps to put an offer for your first international wholesale deal. Remember, always use your own contract because you have protections. If you don't have a contract, I'll be glad to share mine with you. By taking my course, my contract is also included. Now, again, like I talked to you guys in the past, always use your local title company in the market that you live to hold your earnest money deposit. It gives you easy access in case you need to pull out of the deal and you don't end up making the mistakes I made. Never, again, guys, never send money to anyone and ensure your title company has a satellite office in the location you're purchasing. I put some information here, Fidelity Title, and most title companies in the US have an international office or an affiliate title company that they work with. If you're closing a deal in a country that doesn't provide title insurance, ensure you get an attorney in your local market to help facilitate that deal, to minimize your risk, and have your attorney hold the earnest money in escrow because you want to have control of that. Have your attorney review your contract. Also ensure that the property you're purchasing isn't subject to government eminent domain laws so you don't lose out on any deals. Guys, I don't want to have to repeat myself on this. You guys have heard this already. So you guys can use this and leverage this information for what you need to leverage it for. Last, I want to talk to you guys about closing your first international wholesale deal. Remember, always use a title company. Again, I know I'm beating a dead horse here, guys, but I want you guys to learn these things and keep this at the back of your mind. Because if your country doesn't offer a title insurance company, title insurance, use a local attorney that works in conjunction with the attorney in the market that you're buying. understand the funding process, because you and the seller will need to get paid from the proceeds from the investor funding. That's how I talk to you guys about the consulting fee, the management, or the finder's fee, or the marketing fee. If your country doesn't allow wholesaling, this is a process you can do. Some countries do not allow for wholesaling. In this case, you have to be creative. You have to find a way to get paid. Marketing fee, consulting fee, finder's fee. You still would get paid. Okay? Ask about tax laws, because you need to know tax laws. Some countries have a government or a stamp tax, and this can be 1% of the value of the property. So you have to know who's going to pay that, because when you're negotiating with the seller and the buyer, they might want you to pay that. And guess what? If that happens, you get to pay, you make $0. The reason why you make zero is because now all your fee goes towards the stamp tax. So understand what those are and who is going to be paying those fees. Okay? And most important, just put the property on the contract. Because when in doubt, you learn as you go. Just put it on the contract. Put it on the contract, and there will be somebody that would help you get to the point that you want to get to. Okay? If you're interested in remote wholesaling, again, my course information is on ThinkFic. It's on the description below. Please leverage that information for yourself. Please sign up for my course on ThinkFic to learn the basics of wholesaling, because you need that basics of wholesaling and remote wholesaling to get started. My contact information is also here. You can reach me at my email and my last name, najindu@gmail.com. And for more information, just put the word wholesale in the subject line. So I'm going to leave this here for about 30 seconds. Just all you have to do is put the word wholesale in the subject line. Reach out to me. Let's talk. If I can help you, I would. That's my goal. My goal is to help you be more successful. For selfish reasons, of course, but that's my goal. I'm offering a special offer today. For those of you who are interested, as a special offer, I'm giving away my VIP mentorship package. It's free for the first 100 students to sign up. You remember I talked to you guys about the social media marketing, the one-on-one coaching. I'm willing to offer you guys that for the first 100 students to sign up for my course. All I need for you to do is to send to me the word wholesale in the subject line after you sign up for the course. And when we get to the number 100, I'll be honest and I'll say I'm not taking any more students on the VIP package. But for the first 100 students, I'm willing to offer this for free. The typical VIP package retails for $500, but I'm going to offer it free for the first 100 students. And in this, I'm going to offer one-on-one coaching. I'm going to do a full package deal review with you. I'm going to review your contracts, and I'm going to also assist you with finding a buyer on your first deal, meaning you have access to my buyers list. All the people that I reach out to when I have deals will be the people you get to reach out to when you have your deals. I want to do this for you so you can be successful. But in order for us to do this, we have to be willing to work together. And lastly, I will also give you access to my buyers list so you can market your deal to them once you have your first property under contract. I want to do all of this for us because I feel that you can benefit from the knowledge that I'm willing to share with you, and you can tell your friends so they can also leverage the same information. Okay? So again, I want to thank you guys very much for being a part of this. If you guys have any questions, you have my contact information. You can always reach out to me. Again, remember, don't forget to leave the word wholesale in the subject line when you send an email to me. Again, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to work with you guys. Thank you very much. Love you all. Peace.